Good morning, security gang, and welcome back to the CyberHub Podcast. We've got a busy show today, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We've got a lot to talk about. My name is James Azar. I'm the host. I'm also a Chief Information Security Officer by trade. So this podcast is all about helping practitioners really break down what we're seeing and what it actually means and how we kind of take the news and actually transform them into practical steps within our cybersecurity practice. In the middle, we throw in some humor and everything else. So thank you all for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. No show tomorrow. Just want to be clear. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving, it's family time. And nothing trumps family time in my book. So family time tomorrow. Show is back Monday, 9 a.m. Over the weekend, I'm dropping the first of my 3-part series, how to subscription model broke the CISO budget. We'll get into it's a 3-part series, so go subscribe now to cyberhubpodcast.com to get that. All right, without further ado, let's get into this morning's episode because we have a lot to talk about. I've got my double espresso here, y'all. Coffee cup cheers. It's good. It's not bad. It's Black Rifle. So I got a Black Rifle kind of like variety pack. There's a 4 intensity, an 8 intensity, 11 intensity. This is their 11 intensity. It's okay. I mean, again, Black Rifle's not an espresso shop. They're kind of a coffee shop, but I wanted to try their espressos. So the 4, really, really weak. The 11, pretty good. Not bad. I mean, for an intense espresso, it's not bad at all. So give that its credit where credit is due. Let's move to universities, just one after the other, falling victim to the CLOP extortion group. Now, Dartmouth College coming through disclosing that they also were victims of the CLOP ransomware and extortion gang. And again, they exfiltrate, CLOP does exfiltrate data at scale, then they leak it, and then they try to extort it against the schools. They've done it to Princeton, they've done it to Harvard, and now we're seeing Dartmouth join that. And again, they're going after their alumni network, they're going after their employees, they're going after their students, and primarily they're trying to gain data that they can later use to manipulate for some sort of benefit. So what all of this means essentially is universities are no longer kind of just trying to secure operations. Threat actors are targeting your fundraising because they're paying attention. Universities have billions and billions of dollars in the bank, especially the big ones like the Harvards, the Stanfords, the Princetons, the Dartmouth, these Ivy League schools. They have alumni that donates tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars per year. And those endowments are significant. That's money they want to get their hands on. It's another victim in the chain for them. And that's what they're going after. So you've got to routinely look at, broad kind of exfiltration types of work. You should look at your aging SSO connectors. Universities are a sprawling federation. A compromise in any admin typically exposes PII and even more, and that could enable business email compromise, that could enable invoice frauds, and so much more. So you want to make sure you address that. You should, always refresh, and you should prepare a donor-focused comms package around phishing tells, callback verification, and so much more. To not trust that. I mean, again, that's significant for Dartmouth there because it's just a trend, right? We've seen it with Pennsylvania, Stanford, Princeton, Harvard, Princeton. So all of them are part of that. We move to my home state of Georgia, where a court filing organization is a victim of ransomware. So this story starts with the Legal e-filing networks, which is a classic SaaS with thin IT and a handful of application servers, third-party payment gateways, and a judicial SLA, all connected to thousands of law firms. Ransomware crews love these hubs because really it's a single outage, jams out court calendars, drives willingness to pay or at least negotiate. And then they are able to spoof court notices, email surge while systems are down, tricking attorneys into opening malware, or even wiring reinstatement fees to their own bank accounts, which could lead to misfiled or late submissions. They can have real life harm for individuals and even some malpractice exposure for some attorneys. This specifically impacts the GSCCCA website, which still has a system maintenance in progress, the week of Thanksgiving nonetheless. So this has some significant challenges there for attorneys and for the court system. And the Georgia Superior Court's Clerk Cooperative Authority said the threat is still ongoing, so they're working around the clock to evaluate it. And again, the organization was added to the leak site of a ransomware gang called DevMan on Friday. The group claims it stole 500 gigabytes worth of data and is asking for a $400,000 ransom for the attack there as well. So this gives me a bit of cringe here. So OnSolve's Code Red emergency alert system was disrupted here. The Code Red platform enables agencies to send alerts to residents during emergencies. Code Red is embedded in county and city incident playbooks, whether it be weather, hazmat, active shooter. They're often chained to social media cross posts and even reverse 911 calls. This vendor attack here creates a communication dead zone where citizens don't know where to look, and impersonators could spin up lookalike SMS domains to fish donations or even push malware. Additionally, they can really kind of overwhelm the system with 911 calls or getting people to panic, which is also really bad for civil unrest. Jurisdictions sometimes rely on Code Red templates to satisfy grant requirements, so switching channels mid-incident is non-trivial without rehearsal. Again, this kind of goes into kind of the single vendor model where we go like it's an emergency system, one vendor should be enough, and in all cases it is. In this case specifically, we know the Russians were in there to disrupt the platform. The INC ransomware gang claimed responsibility for it. They have ties to Russia. Obviously, the ransomware gang claimed to have breached OnSolve's systems on November 1st of this year and encrypted files on November 10th after allegedly failing to receive a ransom payment. Threat actors say they're now selling this data that was stolen during the attack on the open market. So you have that to contend with. A story that's near and dear to my heart, which is always there, is fraud, right? So the FBI is saying $262 million were stolen via bank support impersonations. That's a lot of money. The modern run book of people calling victims in banks and then essentially doing like real-time verification calls and pushing victims to secure accounts by Zelle, ACH, or crypto. Hackers are increasingly using remote assist tools like AnyDesk or Quick Support and even call center scripts to walk users through disabling fraud controls on their bank accounts. For the corporate side, they're piggybacking on payroll change windows and even month-end treasury activity. They're also seeing mules staging accounts at regional banks to shorten clawback windows so they can move the money faster. And again, in most cases, we're not wired from the security side to do these. So these specific schemes coming into received 5,100 complaints since the start of this year, and we're just in November. This is as of the end of October. So that, and this is the season where typically this kind of a fraud really gets really significant. Criminals gain unauthorized access to online bank accounts, payroll, or even health savings accounts using various social engineering techniques or fraudulent websites. After gaining controls, they'll wire funds into crypto wallets, making recovery very difficult. And in many cases, they change account passwords, locking the legitimate owners out of them. Again, they're using law enforcement impersonation. They're phishing. They're pretending to be from all kinds of different organizations. And again, they're targeting the most vulnerable in most cases, or the people that are the busiest. So with that being said, going into the fourth quarter, going into holiday season, going into a whole bunch of stuff, someone's calling you from your bank saying something, it's not happening. I'll tell you why. Because most banks will send you an SMS saying, we see something really weird in your account. Is that you? Yes or no? And if you say no, they automatically cancel your card. Another tip, don't use your debit cards online. Never, ever use your debit cards online. Your debit cards are uninsured. So you're going to get into an argument with your bank over the funds being stolen, right? Most banks do the right thing. Some banks don't. And based on the amount, you could be in for a rude awakening. Only use credit cards. If you don't like credit cards, get one anyways. Get a prepaid one, put $1,000 on it, do whatever you want to do online with it. Park it. When you're ready to load it up with more cash, use it again. Like, it's the best tip I could potentially give you. Do not use debit cards. Someone calls you from the bank, say, thank you for calling. Let me call you back. I'm busy. And call back the number. And if the bank doesn't know what you're talking about, you really just got smart and lucky, and you did the right thing. Whenever someone calls me pretending to be from something, and it happens all the time, by the way, I just say, look, let me call you back. And I never ask them for their phone number. I just go to the website of wherever they're calling me from and call that number. Because they'll give you a number that targets to them, and you feel like, oh, okay, I called them back on the number they gave me. It must be, whoever, Bank X. It's not. It's not. They'll make the systems look the same. It's not very hard to do it. Thank you for calling the bank of so-and-so. Don't do it. Be smarter than that. Okay. Now that we've gotten fraud out of our system, let's move to Russian Nexus targeting a U.S. engineering firm simply for doing work for a sister city in the Ukraine. A grievance-driven targeting. The company's civic ties to a Ukrainian city put it on the radar despite no direct defense contract. The TTP's look-alike classic intrusion for PR campaigns, credential phishing, mailbox search, and selective data theft meant to embarrass local officials and even corporate sponsors. Hack and leak storylines could be timed to public meetings or election. Your civic partnerships and sponsorships and internships can create unexpected threat surface outside your industry risk model, which is something you have to keep in mind. If you're working for a firm that's supporting somewhere in the region, you work with Taiwan, you work with Ukraine, and in places like that, mind you, you work with firms in Israel, mind you, some threat actors will come after you solely for that purpose. Solely for that purpose. So you want to put geo-risk and base conditional access on collaboration tenants used with municipalities and NGOs. You should restrict external sharing to only approved domains, alert on mailbox searches, spikes, and OAuth consents, and download from public affairs, community relations, and investor relations screens. All domains come from there. Arctic Wolf was the firm that identified the Russian campaign here. And again, part of something greater that they're doing in order to target anyone supporting the Ukraine. Complete and total isolation of Ukraine is the Kremlin's playbook here as well. We'll move to a ClickFix attack variant that's being observed where threat actors are tricking users with their realistic looking Windows update animation and a full in-a-screen browser page that hides the malicious code inside the images, which is nothing new. Although because they're using it for ClickFix, it does push malware immediately when people click on it. Attackers present full screen Windows update. They overlay the ClickFix pattern that tricks users into allowing malicious installers or deploys a PowerShell payload on the back end without the user actually seeing it. It does local execution on managed endpoints, leading to potential credential theft and even lateral movement. You should block unsigned strollers, remove local admin when possible, enable AMSI and script block and logging. EDR rules for PowerShell and WScript.exe spawned by browser and Teams, and micro training to help for help desk spoof scenarios all go a long way there as well. We'll continue with our next story this morning, folks. This Fluent bit vulnerability that's exposing cloud services to Takeover. Multiple issues in Fluent bit, widely used for cloud lock forwarding and observability, can enable memory corruption or even authentication bypass patterns in certain deployments. Risk and containment, host compromise. So this would have some impact on your telemetry pipelines and control plane pivots, poisoning logs, leading to code execution and collectors, and even potential cross-tenant data exposure. Upgrade to the vendor fixed version. Isolate collectors and drop unnecessary parsers or plugins. Run collectors as a non-root with minimal capabilities. And you should look at zero trust egress from logging namespaces coming together as well. CISA warning that commercial spyware targeting messaging app users is on the increase. CISA flagging active campaigns deploying commercial spyware through messaging app lures, whether mobile or desktop, with zero-click or one-click vectors observed in the ecosystem. Again, this is going after surveillance of specific folks, whether it be corporate espionage or national security reasons. You're seeing Russian users disguised in WhatsApp. They're seeing stuff happening in Android users disguised as Signal and Tuk, which is an app in the region there as well. So you want to make sure your training and guidance for mobile communication security is really important there. Finally, Russia detained a tech founder on treason allegations tied to information transfer. The Russian media says the details of the case are classified, but they say Timur Kilin has drawn official ire after publicly criticizing the state-owned messaging app Max and the government anti-cybercrime legislation. Kilin built several security tools and founded a cybersecurity startup this year. Had used his Telegram channel to call Max a disgusting product. He said he reported multiple vulnerabilities to the developers, only to be blacklisted from the group chat. Among the flaws he flagged was the app's use of software libraries from unfriendly countries, which he argued could expose Russian data to foreign actors. And in the world of the Kremlin, he gets arrested for treason for criticizing it. So New Yorkers, good luck. I'm kidding. I'm joking. All right. Joke. Please don't take that too seriously. But anyways, that sounds like the Kremlin playbook. And yeah, I mean, very, very basic. Apparently he may have shared this information, and he's gonna now deal with the consequences of him trying to be a cybersecurity researcher, someone who's 21 years old, who is in a tech and trying to do the best that he could in Russia. That means that if we don't like the way you do this, we're going to send you to jail. So there's that. Good luck to Timur, and hopefully you're acquitted. Although I'm not crossing my fingers for that one, because we know how the Russia legal system works. So not much there, but good luck, buddy. All right, that's it for our show today. Again, we'll be back Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern. We're off tomorrow. Friday, we'll still be releasing our weekly cybersecurity news summary that's only available on our LinkedIn page or at cyberhubpodcast.com. Saturday, Sunday, our articles as usual, and Monday morning, the show is back, ready to go into December and the end of this year. The countdown begins. The countdown begins for the end of this year. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you all for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving, and most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.